Hello everyone! Alright, today we're going to be learning how to classify adverbs. Our goal is I can recognize and classify adverbs in sentences. Just a reminder that word classify is just a big grown-up way of saying that I can tell somebody what each kind of word in a sentence is. Here we go. So what is an adverb? Remember, adverbs describe verbs. That's why they have the word verb in them. They answer three different questions. Adverbs can tell us how, when, and where. And I put up here just a little hint that the how adverbs a lot of times end in ly. So in my picture, I have a picture of a dog and he's running. And the sentence says the dog ran blank. I always like to use this sentence as an example for friends to test to see if their words are adverbs. I can put a word in the blank, and if it sounds correct, then it's probably an adverb. If it doesn't, then that means it's not an adverb. So I can think of adverbs that that go with all three different questions. So I can describe how the dog is running. The dog ran, looks like he's running fast. Fast is a word that describes the dog's running, and it's telling me how he is running. All right. I can also describe when the dog is running. The dog ran today. That's telling me when the dog is running. It's describing my verb run by telling me when the dog is running. When adverbs are usually words that tell a day, a time, or a frequency. Frequency means like how often they do it. And then finally, where. There are where adverbs, and they tell us, they describe where the verb is happening. So they would tell us where the dog is running. Remember, these ones cannot be a place, because a place is not an adverb, it's a noun. So we could say the dog ran here. Here is an adverb that describes where. It's telling us where the dog is running. Remember that adverbs can only be one word, and they cannot be a place. So I can't say the dog ran in the doghouse. Those are some different kinds of words we're going to be learning later this year, hopefully. So adverbs can only be one word, and they tell us how, when, or where the verb is happening. All right, let's go on to our next page. So now I'm going to show you how to classify adverbs. So I have our steps here on the side, and then I have our sentence that we are going to classify in the middle. So the first step is to read it. So you read the sentence. Here we go. Dogs run fast. That's my sentence. Step number 2. I'm going to always start with the subject noun. Later in this year, our subject nouns won't be the first word anymore, and this will get tricky. So just as a heads up, remember we always start with the subject noun. It's always the first word that we find. The subject noun is who or what the sentence is about. Dogs ran fast. This sentence seems to be about dogs. So I know dogs is the subject noun. But with subject nouns, I have to decide if it's telling me who or what. Who is if it's a person or people, and what is if the subject noun is anything else, so a place, thing, or animal. Dogs are not people, so I know that they are telling me what the sentence is about. The third step is the verb. That's the action word. Well, I can see that that word is run. And then the last step, this is the new one we're adding, is adverb. We shorten adverbs with A, D, V. And remember, adverbs answer three different questions: where, how, and when. When I look at this sentence, this word fast seems like it's describing my run, describing run. So I think that fast is my adverb. So now I need to think about, does fast tell me how, when, or where? I think fast is telling me how the dogs run. It doesn't have "ly" on the end, but it's one of the only how adverbs that doesn't have the "ly" on the end. All right, so now I'm going to teach you how we ask and answer the questions. I'm going to go through the steps in this order. I underlined the words for the parts of the different kinds of words that have more than one kind so that we know when we get to them which kind it is. So here we go. First step, step number 1, read it. Dogs run fast. Step number 2, I'm going to find the subject noun. I'm going to ask a question about it. I'm going to start with what, and then I'll answer it. What runs? I always just say who or what, and then the verb, which is run. What runs? I'm going to answer it. Dogs. Subject noun. And I put an SN above it for subject noun. Step number 3 is the verb. I'm going to ask and answer a question about the verb. What is being said about dogs? And then I answer it with the subject noun and verb. Dogs run. So run is my verb. And then last, my new step, adverb. I'm going to start with the verb word, run, and then I'm going to end with the question that I think it answers, which is how. Run how fast. Adverb. Okay, I know that was a lot. I'm going to put all 4 steps together now and see if you can follow along with me. I'll put the pencil next to each step as I say it. Here we go. Dogs run fast. What runs? Dogs. Subject noun. What is being said about dogs? Dogs run. Verb. Run how? Fast. Adverb. All right, so that's how we classify adverbs, sentences with adverbs. Let's do a couple more examples because I know that was a lot. Here we go. Next page, I have 3 examples on this page. I took our steps, I just made them a little bit smaller, but they are now up here at the top. So again, step number 1, read it. Step number 2, find the subject noun. I have to decide if it's who or what. Step number 3, find the verb. And then step number 4, find the adverb and decide if it's how, when, or where. All right, here's our first example on this page. First I read it. Boys played later. Now I'm going to ask and answer about the subject noun. I notice boys, that's people. So I'm going to use who. Who played? Boys. Subject noun. Next step, step 3, is verb. What is being said about boys? Boys played. Verb. And then last is the adverb. My adverb is later. Does that tell me how, when, or where? Later? That sounds like a time. So I would say later is when. So I would say played when? Later. Adverb. All right, I will put all 3 of those steps together now so you can hear what it sounds like when someone's not stopping to give directions. Boys played later. Who played? Boys. Subject noun. What is being said about boys? Boys played. Verb. Played when? Later. Adverb. All right, here's the next one. First, read it. Bees flew around. Next is a subject noun. Is it who or what? Bees is not a person, so I'm going to go with what. What flew? Bees. Subject noun. Next, third step is verb. What is being said about bees? Bees flew. Verb. And then last, my new adverb. It's around. Does around tell us how, when, or where? I would say this one could be a little tricky. Some friends say how, some friends say where. I usually say where because it's telling me where the bees are flying. They're flying around something. Sometimes people say how because it's telling you how they're flying to. They're flying around in a circle. I'm going to go with where this time, but I would say both of them could be correct answers. So I would say flew where? Around. Adverb. Let me put all the pieces together so you can hear what it sounds like without pausing. Bees flew around. What flew? Bees. Subject noun. Was being said about bees. Bees flew. Verb. Flew where? Around. Adverb. All right, for this last one, I'm going to read it, and I want my friends to see if they can figure out before I classify it. I'll give you a second. I want you to see if you can figure out, does the subject noun tell us who or what? And does the adverb tell us how, when, or where? Here's the sentence. Babies cried loudly. So see if you can find the subject noun. Does it tell us who or what? And then see if you can find the adverb. Does it tell us how, when, or where? Babies cried loudly. Here we go. I'll do all the steps together without pausing. Babies cried loudly. Who cried? Babies. Subject noun. What is being said about babies? Babies cried. Verb. Cried how? Loudly. Adverb. Nice job. Hopefully you were able to get a lot of that with me. All right, you're going to be practicing your own sentences today in your workbook. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for learning with me.